Hello, Dallas.
Hey, man.
What's going on, dude? How you doing, man?
Doing well.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, you are live right now on the Zach Moonshine Show, man. We just got done blasting Barbarian, dude. That shit is so fucking badass, man.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, dude. So what's going on, man? I know you're a busy guy, dude. You got a lot of shit going on, man. But what's going on in the world right now of Dallas and Narcotic?
Well, basically, we're working on new stuff. We got a new single coming out pretty soon. And other than that, we've got some shows coming up in August. One of them being Michigan Metal Fest, which will be pretty cool. And we got shows in Ohio and North Carolina and a couple other places that we either haven't played in a while or we haven't been ever. So that's always exciting.
Yeah, man, the Fentanyl Zombie Apocalypse Tour, dude. Tell us about that shit, man.
Yeah, gonna be...
Hello? Where'd he go? Too much devastation, man. Hang on a second.
Hey, I don't know what happened there. I lost you.
It's all good, dude. Yeah, you were just about to tell us about the tour, man.
Yeah, going to be going out with Visitant and a couple other killer bands, and it's going to be about, I don't know, maybe 2.5 weeks or something of just hitting some territories we haven't been in a while and some places we've never been. So that's always exciting.
Hell yeah. Now, you mentioned you got a new single coming out soon, man, because that's something I was going to ask you about too, man, because, yeah, it's been a minute since we've had something new from you guys, so 2024, I believe, right?
Yeah, pretty much, and, we've just been kind of busy in getting offers and doing some touring and stuff, and, kind of pushing the band still because... really, even though the debut in the second album, well, quite some time ago now, still just kind of spreading the word on the whole thing and, getting out there. I mean, that's the best way to do it, you know what I mean, in my opinion, is to get out there, play live.
Yeah.
And we decided to, release some singles and stuff like that. And we will be definitely, we have a full length.
Awesome.
With the lineup changes and stuff, and now we have like Kenji in the band, and so we're going to just change gears a little bit and write some more material, and it's we're really excited about all that. But that's going to be the main focus. We've done a lot of touring over the past couple of years, so it's really time to take a little bit of time from the road and put out some more material.
Hell yeah, man. So there is another full-length album at some point coming out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I've been trying to get this. I've tried several times to get a full-length out over the years, but, anything between, the COVID situation and then some lineup changes and then getting opportunities to go play, stuff that would be a lot of fun and, of course, beneficial to the band long term and stuff like that. So had to jump on those opportunities.
But that's good. So, that's super good. I mean, it's always good to stay. It's always good to be busy, man. Yeah,
man. I mean, I knew what I was getting myself into as a very young dude. For me, metal and guitar is a way of life, and for better or worse, it's what I do.
Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. I wanted to ask you about Solar Guitars, man. You're now you're endorsed by them, right?
Yeah, I absolutely love them, man. They're really great. I've even seen a couple of comments on my playthroughs about make them getting me a signature model, which maybe in the future that would be pretty cool. But one of the reasons why I chose the particular model that I wanted from them and was because I can literally pick this thing off the shelf and it's pretty much in spec. I don't have to do any customization to the guitar at all, other than, maybe tuning it a half step down or something or whatever, maybe tuning in strings. But other than that, there's no modifications that need to be done to the guitar itself. The pickups are great. One of my big gripes with guitar manufacturers is they like to put the volume knob like right in the way of your hand. Mm-hmm. And they don't do that. The volume knob is just out of reach where it's easy to get to, but not in the way of your picking hand. That's a huge gripe for me. On most guitars, I'll end up doing a tone knob delete and moving the volume knob to the tone knob position just to get it out of the way.
Hell yeah, man.
But no modifications needed on these Solar models.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Ola England's badass, dude. He knows what's up, man.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So what else is coming up next for you guys? I know. Do you have any? Do you have a tentative date for that new single or?
Still working on that. We want to get it out. Ultimately, I would love to have it out right before the tour or sometime during the tour. We will be performing it on the tour either way, and have already been talking and logisticizing the video for the song as well. We'll put out the single and then we'll probably do like a video too.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, the tour is called Fentanyl Zombie Apocalypse Tour, which I love, man. That's just a great name. It's obviously pretty provocative. Has anybody told you that it's too controversial, or what do you think? Like,
no. Most people that hear that, and that's going to go with the song actually, and I think people will love the song when they hear it. And no, not at all. I mean, what's the controversy? People are wandering around in the streets like screaming at their arm and stuff. I mean, right. that's not going to end well,
Yeah.
And it's one thing for it to be. It's bad enough that it's prescribed at all. I personally don't believe that. There's been all kinds of speculation about that particular drug concerning even the ending of people's lives, particularly some of the famous pop star singers that have passed away in the past couple of decades.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to touch that can of worms, but the fact of the matter is, it's, I'm pretty old. My partying days are kind of behind me. But, for instance, just even storing a bag of something off the street is dangerous now because it could be laced with fentanyl and kill you like instantly, So it is a topic of discussion for sure.
What do you think about metal bands like in general? They should be tackling uncomfortable subjects instead of avoiding them, or like, how do you feel about that?
I think, as a band or an artist, I think you should be able to do whatever the hell you want, really. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to get into some more sort of socially conscious subjects, then great, or if you want it to be about Satanism, that's great too. It's usually, it's just whatever you want to express in your music and whatever it is you want to talk about. And I just find that some of the heaviest topics happen to be what's going on in our daily lives.
It is for sure. Every day you can just pretty much turn on the news or just go look at social media or something like that, and probably get 1,000 ideas of different fucked up things that are going on, you know what I mean? It's never ending. But I think that's always been something that metal's been great about talking about, you know, like just putting, I don't know, it's been that way since the fucking beginning. I mean, I guess if you think about it, you know, fucking war pigs, man, you know, like fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know, it has always been sort of an outlet for the subjects beyond the normal thing, which I will quote my favorite author, Douglas Adams. He talks about in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. In the book, there's this rock band called Disaster Area. But, a lot of metal bands don't write songs about the typical boy being meets girl being underneath the silvery moon, which then explodes for no adequately explored reason. That's one of Douglas Adams' little jokes, but you know what I mean? It's, a lot of times what songs will be about is like love or something like that. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but I find other subjects much more interesting.
Oh yeah. What about the current death metal scene, man? Do you think death metal's healthier now than it was 20 years ago, or what do you think?
It's really hard to say. I would say in some ways, I would say that I'm really surprised at how strong it's still kind of going, and in some ways I would say it's stronger. I mean, look at the places, look at the venues that bands like Cannibal Corpse are playing now.
Yeah.
Now, the shit was hot back in the 90s, don't get me wrong. I was there. I saw them on, like, Human the Mutilated tour. I saw Deicide Legion tour and all that, you know. And it was killer. I mean, it was killer, decent-sized venues like clubs, and they were packed. And then, mid-90s, things did kind of fizzle out a little bit, I guess. But now, those guys are playing, like, massive places.
Yeah.
So, and they're not the only one doing it either. There's a lot of metal bands that are doing quite well, and I would have never thought that in a million years that this heaviness would be, in front of that many people.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess they always say that, and it's always just been this sort of progression since, the War Pig days, or even back as far as, Paint It Black, Rolling Stones kind of thing, you know what I mean? That was a pretty dark track for the time.
Yeah, I think the mainstream media it's always been trying to kind of push it in the corner, and act like it's this, fucking dirty stepchild or some shit. But, like, fucking metal is fucking huge, like, especially, like, right now. Like, you look at some of these festivals around the world and shit, man, they're pulling fucking hundreds of thousands of people, dude. Like, it's just insane, man. And if you think about it, you don't really see that kind of... You don't see festivals like Hellfest and fucking Bloodstock and Wacken and shit. You don't see stuff like that for, like, pop music or country music, but they act like that's the fucking number one thing, and it's really weird when you think about it.
Yeah, I think what that is too is that heavy metal as a whole has always been a live music, or someone, not necessarily a radio music. For instance, you remember the old, probably saw it on video cassette maybe. Well, I don't know, I'm not sure how old you are. But remember Iron Maiden Live After Death?
Yeah.
They sold out 2 nights in Long Beach Arena. No radio play, no videos on MTV until, they had maybe a little bit, but no real coverage. It was just their music and some magazines and their albums, and that's all it took.
Yeah.
But, they didn't get played on the radio, but they were huge. I mean, they packed out arenas, sold out arenas 2 nights in a row, stuff like that. So, and that's kind of how it's always been for rock and metal in a way.
Yeah. Even like Metallica too, like fucking they were huge before they even had a video on MTV. And I think it got to the point where it was like they were getting pressured to just do one for the fuck of it, because it's like, you're at this point. And then they did, and then, you know, but it's like, yeah, they were doing huge fucking tours, and like they had a huge underground scene or following, you know, and with very, very little radio play. Like, I remember the early 80s, man. You didn't hear, they weren't playing Master of Puppets and shit like that on the radio back then.
No.
It was Motley
We
Crue
did
and
have
Rat
one
and shit like
AM
that.
radio station back in the day called Rock 1450 WRZK out of Fayetteville. Or actually, they were out of Spring Lake, but Fayetteville, North Carolina. But yeah, they would play some stuff like that. We're talking about an obscure AM radio station.
Yeah. I remember when we moved to Maryland in the late 80s, early 90s, and there was a radio station there called The Underground. They're still around, actually. But at the time, it was run by some college kids, I think. And that's what they were doing. They were playing like all kinds of crazy shit, man, like especially late at night. And I would stay up late at night with my cassette tapes, you know, and put them in there and dub record just all kinds of stuff, man. King Diamond, fucking Exodus, and Overkill, and you know, fucking, they were just playing all kinds of like really weird shit, like, you know, and that was pretty rare at the time. But then that's before the internet and everything. Now, of course, everything's so accessible now. You can pretty much find anything. But back then, you were really kind of strapped to whatever. If you found a source, it was like a well, you know, it was like a fucking, it was a very special thing, you know. Like, I remember, man, those days, dude.
Yeah, you know, back in the day when you had to just go to the record store and take a gamble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just buy something just because the album cover looked cool and you had no idea what it was going to sound like at all.
Yeah, that right there, again, bringing back, you know, Iron Maiden and seeing that. I think actually Killers might have been the first one that I bought. And then of course, you know, the whole catalog.
Yeah.
Once I finally did that, I was a little late to the game on them. Of course, I was pretty young at the time. But I just remember that, buying my first Judas Priest record. Already a huge Rush fan, so I was, since I was really young, so I was always looking forward to that. But as far as just taking a gamble, yeah, you had to go in there and roll the dice, and sometimes you'd get something, a lot of times you'd get something pretty killer.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I remember the first Ozzy tape that I bought was Speak of the Devil, and that was just because the cover on it, you know, it looked cool. He had the jelly, what I thought it was blood, you know, in his mouth and everything with the fangs and shit. I was like, oh, man. Plus, it was, I think it was on discount. It was like, it said something on there. It was like 2 LPs on one cassette tape for, I don't know, whatever it was, like $5 or $6 or some shit. Fuck, man.
Yeah. I had a poster of that picture you're talking about.
Yeah. Hell yeah. As far as album artwork, you know, I mean, I've always thought that's such a fucking important thing, man. But what's your opinion about it now, like in this modern era where so many bands are using AI to make album artwork? What's your how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like when it comes to that, you're going to get what you're going to get. You know, I'm not opposed to it, but I wouldn't personally use it. I think it's kind of limiting, and I think what we do as human beings, since we're not artificial intelligence, we're actual intelligence. I think what we do is much more interesting than just plugging in a bunch of stuff and it, you know, randomly generating. I think it can be an application for some things, but I don't think it should just be used to cover up the fact that there's no talent.
Yeah.
So you'll never see me using it. There will never be a need for it. We have, me and the wife slash agent slash manager over there, she's got some pretty good connections for actual artists, and so do I, so no need for it.
Yeah, dude, I mean, you'd be amazed. Like, all you really have to do is get on Facebook and be like, I need an artist, and there's like fucking hundreds of them, man, thousands of them, dude, from like all of, especially like different countries and stuff, man. We're just people just sitting there fucking making shit, and there's just so many that are already made that are for sale, like for pretty cheap, but not even that expensive, man. Or you can go the expensive route and find somebody that's well known too. But like, I'm just saying, like, it definitely, I know, because we've used multiple different people for different things, for our festivals and stuff for the radio or shit like that, and just, it's always pretty easy to find somebody that's willing to do it for, not that much, man. Like, less than, probably about the same amount that you're going to spend going out to eat, And this, you're talking about something that you can use forever, man.
Totally. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with the whole AI thing, and another thing that I've been noticing and seeing a lot of stuff talked about lately too is the sort of the end of an era, as far as we've pretty much seen physical damn near go away in the music side of things, but now physical is starting to go away on video games too.
Yeah.
So, I just don't think any of that's going to end well.
No, probably not.
And I will not participate. I will not use AI, and I will buy physical copies of stuff, whether it be movies and games, television series, whatever. And it's worth it to me not to have the commercials.
What about bands using AI, man? Have you seen? I know recently Rudy Sarzo, I believe, is pretty like under some fire because I guess he did something. He made some songs or something and used AI to create it, but like it's him, but he's using it to make like a band or something. I don't know.
I think that is absolutely fucking hilarious.
I saw him make a post about it. I'm like, like on one hand, I'm like, man, it's fucking Rudy Sarzo. Like, he can kind of do whatever he wants to do at this point, but at the same time, it's like, damn, dude, really?
I know, but there's just like, God, I mean, there's already enough bass player jokes, dude. Stop it. I mean, yeah, for someone, I don't think Rudy ever wrote anything, did he?
I don't know.
So maybe he might got some writing credits. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think the guy should be like under like vicious fire for something like that. But I don't see how that's really going to benefit him anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be somebody out there that could help him out. I mean, for fuck's sakes, man. Like, I don't know, but
I know
it's weird.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of there's definitely a lot of people out there that are doing it, and it's flooding the fucking the shit. Like sometimes you might be listening to Spotify and you're listening to one thing, and the next thing you know, you hear something that you've never heard before, and you think it's cool, and then you go look it up, and there's nothing to find out about them because it's not real. That's weird. That
is weird. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to participate in that, but I'm also not going to shun or talk bad about anybody that uses AI for a tool or whatever. I mean, I'm not going to do it. I don't know anything about it. What the hell do I know?
Hell yeah.
No rules, what I mean? Like, but for me personally, I'm not into it. I don't think we need it. There's so much there's still, it's not like we're running out of creative ideas,
Yeah.
Just gotta stop being so complacent and get in there and shut up and play your guitar.
Hell yeah, dude. Just pick it up and fucking just start making some noise, man. Fuck.
yeah, before you know it, 4 hours has gone by. You have a bunch of shit written down.
Hell yeah. Well, tell us about you, man. As far as your musical upbringing and stuff, man. Like, what kind of stuff got you into music when you were a kid, man? Like I know you mentioned Iron Maiden and stuff like that, but like, what made you really want to pick up a guitar and start playing, man?
I think I kind of wanted to play guitar ever since I can remember. My mom was really into stuff like Sabbath and Uriah Heep and, Deep Purple. And my dad was more into stuff like, ZZ Top, Three Dog Night. And, he was more of a Southern blues kind of dude. And so I grew up in a musical family, especially on my mom's side of the family. Just about everybody played some kind of instrument. So by the time, I don't know, I was 8 or 9, I started hanging out with one of my older cousins at their rehearsal room and got interested in drums. So the first 4 years, I was really just concentrating on drums. One of my boasts that I bring up often in interviews is that I played Tom Sawyer by Rush at my 4th grade talent show.
Holy shit.
It's like all I did was, like, if I wasn't out on the bicycle or on my skateboard, I was playing drums. And so for the first 4 years, I was really into it. And then I was in sort of junior high school, I guess, and was hanging out with some friends. And, by then I had discovered, like, Jesus Priest, Iron Maiden, and a couple other things. Ozzy Osbourne, of course, was doing stuff. And I was playing drums along with a lot of those records. And I met some guys in school, and they played guitar. And, they'd come stay over or whatever, and we would stay up all night playing guitars and shit, man. I learned a little bit. I learned a power chord and how to palm mute from a friend of mine in school, and pretty much the rest is history. I just started learning all the rhythm guitar I could. At this point, I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. For the first year or so, I just learned all kinds of stuff. Priest, Maiden, Metallica, Metal Church. Metal Church was the one that made me really want to pick up the guitar. That first Metal Church record.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Such a good
And I was like, I want to learn how to do that. And I was trying to sing and stuff, too, back then. And that was also, I always loved David Wayne's voice, how kind of, like, raspy it was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really evil sounding. And, so those guys, got me into it. And then I just kept on. And then in high school, I took some music theory. And I did take a few guitar lessons and started getting into more lead playing. And then my first high school band was, I was probably 16 when I played my first show ever with my first, like, metal band. And it's pretty funny, actually. One of the songs that we covered back then was Battle Angels from Sanctuary. Just to give you an idea of me in the late 80s, early 90s. I hadn't gotten into the death metal growling just yet. We were more into the
Yeah.
So I wasn't really doing too much of that yet. Although we did play a couple of Slayer songs back then too.
Man, you mentioned Uriah Heep, and that reminds me. I remember when I was a kid, I was in my room and I was blasting fucking Wasp. I had Inside the Electric Circus, and I was jamming that, and they do a cover song on there, Easy Living, and I was blasting that in my room, and my mom heard it. She came in, she started laughing. She's like, was that what I think it is, And I'm like, what do you mean? She started telling me, she's like, yeah, that's fucking Uriah Heep. I used to listen to them when I was young, and so then she turned me on to. She used to do that a lot. Like, she would hear what I was listening to, and then turn me on to the original and show me, like, where it came from. She was always very supportive of my metal fucking fascination, man. But
I can say that about my mom as well. She's well, she kind of, was into Rush. I kind of got us into that, and then later on, I was finding my Bolt Thrower cassette in her car. So she really liked all the heavy stuff too. But I remember Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizards was the album that I kind of grew up with.
Such a great.
And it had, that's the one that has Easy Living on it.
Yep.
And then years later, hearing that Wasp version, I had the Electric Circus on cassette.
Yep.
That's a good damn album.
Yeah, it is, dude. I've never understood why they don't like that album. Or Blackie seems to act like that's like their worst album, and I'm like, dude, I think that's their best. In my opinion, like, there's not one bad song on there, man. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I like it just as good as any of their other stuff.
Yeah. Great production, man. Really heavy, fucking thick sounding. You could hear the guitars and everything were really loud, and just the vocals, man. It's just fucking crazy, man. But as far as death metal, for me, it was Deicide, man. I remember that radio station I was talking about. They played Sacrificial Suicide and the title track one night on some like extreme metal thing that they were doing, and I tape recorded that. It was like right around the time when it came out, and that was like the first time I'd ever heard anything like that. Fucking, I think before that, the only thing that was close to that was maybe Sepultura, but Deicide was definitely, that was my introduction right there into what death metal was, and what a fucking.
I think my first introduction, I don't know, I guess moving forward after my first band, I guess my guitar playing started to get a little more complicated, and I stopped singing as much and started just kind of growling. But yeah, I started getting into heavier bands. I know that, like, there, for me, a big influence in the beginning, which could have been considered, I guess, pre-death metal, but had some elements of it, was Sodom, Coroner, those early Sabbath records with Andy Sneap on guitar and Martin Walker on vocals.
Yeah.
Those were, I thought, really influential. And then, like, the first death metal I heard, it was Bolt Thrower, and it was Realm of Chaos. Some buddies of mine were into, Warhammer, playing Warhammer and stuff. And I remember I recognized the art, and I absolutely loved it. And then I heard War Master, and that changed my life.
Yeah, both.
Like, if you hear songs like Lash to the Slave Stick, you'll hear that Bolt Thrower influence in the drums. Like, just double bass through the whole damn song. And that was Bolt Thrower War Master. It was double bass through the entire album. And that was the one. I think that was the first, like, death metal that I really got into. And then that one, and of course Deicide and all the other ones, Gorguts, Cannibal Corpse, Immolation, Suffocation. I think Bolt Thrower is always my favorite.
Yeah, Bolt Thrower is fucking crazy, man. I remember buying that compilation Grind Crusher at a fucking at a record store. They had a used copy, and it was like, I don't know, it was like fucking like $3 or $4, man. I didn't know anything that was on it, but it looked cool, and the names on the back looked cool, so I was like, whatever, man, I'll just fucking grab this, and check it out, because I had seen, I recognized a lot of the band names on it, but I hadn't heard them before, and yeah, took that home and listened to it, and just fucking like, whoa, dude, what the fuck? This shit's insane, man.
Wasn't Fear Factory on that one? There was a Grind Crusher cassette that I think Fear Factory is on. And I remember hearing that for the first time, going, well, that's different.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on that one. The one that I got it had Bolt Thrower on there. It had Morbid Angel on there.
Oh, yeah.
Lawnmower Death. Like some weird shit.
I forgot about Lawnmower Death.
Yeah. Just that name alone, dude. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's got to be good, man.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be worth the $4.
Yeah, Godflesh was on there.
Oh, that's right. Yep, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, Street Cleaner. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh shit, man. Yeah, you're bringing back parts of my brain that had went in deep sleep mode.
Compilations. I remember on Headbangers Ball one time, Lon Friend came on there, and he was talking about Death Is Just the Beginning Part 2, and he was like going on and on about it. It was like pungent stench and fucking hypocrisy and all this shit. All this stuff I'd never even heard before. I immediately went out, found it, bought it, listened to that. That was a good one too, man. A lot of good stuff on there. Early 90s fucking death metal was off the chain, man.
Yeah, man. It was, and one of my favorites too was that first Gorguts record.
Hell yeah.
That was another game changer for me, just for the guitar composition. I thought it was really doing something, something. There was a lot of variety in all those.
Yeah. Really good. I mean, great fucking musicians too, man. Like, they're highly underrated, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I think a lot of people come over death metal and don't realize, how some of that stuff is really fucking intricate and really the technical shit. I mean, some of the stuff you guys were doing with Nile back in the day, dude, like that shit was what the fuck, man? What the hell were you? I remember listening to it and just thinking, what the fuck are they doing, man? Like, how can they even do this? This shit was crazy, man.
Thanks. I do have sort of neoclassical influences to a certain degree. I wouldn't call myself like Shrapnel Records worthy, but I do have a little bit of chops, and I think some of that kind of shows up in some of the more technical death metal stuff that you hear out there. Yeah, some of these guys, they can really play, man. They studied, obviously, and they know their shit.
Well, you're still doing it with the Narcotic Wasteland, dude, and I'm looking forward to hearing some new shit for sure, man.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, we're very excited. I actually stayed up probably a wee bit late last night, just working on some of the new material, and because there's also tablature and everything that needs to be done with that. We've got tablature on my website actually right now. If you go to DallasToler-Wade.com, you can pick up some tablature. There's some Narcotic Wasteland songs up there. There's some Nile songs up there. So people have been kind of diving into that. It's been exciting to see, nonetheless.
Hell yeah! For as far as the upcoming tour, man, is there any kind of things you want to let people know that they might can expect when they come to see you? Anything you guys might be pulling out of the archives or anything like that?
Yeah, we are going to be adding in a couple of different songs, mixing our set list up a little bit, and I can tell you'll be expecting the best version of Narcotic Wasteland you've ever seen. We're real happy to have Austin on drums with us.
Austin's awesome.
Yeah, he's great, man, and he hits so freaking hard. So I don't know. Our brutality is actually notched up a couple of levels now.
Hell yeah!
And I'm very excited about it. We got to do that tour with Belphegor, Incantation, and Hate earlier this year, and it was his debut tour with us. And I mean, he just absolutely crushed it every night.
That's badass, man. Yeah, Austin's great people, dude. I've met him a few times at the Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest, man, and he's always just fucking tearing it up, man.
Hell yeah.
Well, hell yeah, dude. As far as merch and stuff like that, man, what kind of stuff you guys got? Do you guys have new stuff coming out for this tour, or?
We do have a design that we've got for the tour, and then we'll probably have about 5 different designs with us. A couple of old ones that always sell, and that people like, and some newer designs and stuff. And
any of it going to be like exclusive to the tour, or is it stuff that you can pick up online too?
We've got one shirt that we're probably going to have a limited run. We're going to have one limited run shirt for this tour, actually. And yeah, and then you can actually also pick up some stuff if you go to narcoticwasteland.com. You'll see links there to Season of Mist, and you can order some stuff there as well.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, well, Dallas, I guess I'm about out of questions for you, man. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Well, first, thank you for having me on your show, and I just want to thank not just fans of us, but fans of metal in general. You know, thanks so much for all the years of dedication and support to what I believe to be still the most innovative and awesome music on the planet.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us tonight and hang out, and thank you for making this music that we fucking love, dude. Fucking shit, man. Keep going, dude.
Absolutely. Hell yeah, man.
Well, before I let you go, Dallas, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick?
Sure, I'll give it my best.
All right, whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Dallas from Narcotic Wasteland, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
This is Dallas from Narcotic Wasteland, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah. All right, dude. Hell yeah, man. Well, man, like I said, man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast some more Narcotic Wasteland for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
Excellent, man. Thank you.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later, dude.
Have a good one, brother.
Cheers.
Okay.
There you have it, folks. Narcotic Wasteland live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking Radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's driveway. Do whatever you got to do, man. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, what the fuck are you even doing, man? Crank it the fuck up, dude. Don't be scared. This shit, trust me, man. If your neighbors fucking don't like this, they need to go anyway, man. But if they do like it, then fucking get out there and fucking jam out with them, man.